guys, welcome to my channel. My name's Ashley. Today I'm going to be doing a get ready with me while I tell you the story time on how I ended up living with a 56-year-old roommate in a college apartment. So stay tuned. Let's get into the story. So this was a couple years ago. We have many different complexes that are like student living. Like you pretty much have to be a student to live in these complexes, but they're not affiliated with the school in any way. And that's where most people live when they're in college around here. So it was my sophomore year. We picked a 4-4, so 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom, and it was with me and 2 of my friends, which meant that we were only going to have one random roommate, which no biggie. A lot of times, like, you will end up with a random roommate or 2 unless you have like a whole house full of people moving in. So like having a random roommate in one of these apartments it's common, right? It's pretty common. Because they are student affiliated, you expect everyone living in these apartments to be around your age, right? Like around early 20s, 19, whatever. Because that's who these apartments are meant for, you know? We move in, and the first roommate we had that year was around our age. She was a year older than us. We'll call her Martha for this story. So Martha did not like us from the beginning, me and my 2 friends. It was her first time ever living away from home, and it was her first time ever having roommates. I don't think she necessarily understands that with roommates, like, you're not going to get your way 24/7. Like, that's just how it is with any roommates, whether they're your friends or not. Like, with roommates, you always end up having to compromise a little bit. She didn't want to, and the best way I could describe this girl's personality is like one single piece of plain white Wonder Bread. Not even toasted, just the bread, nothing on it. Like, that was like her personality. She never went out, she never did anything. She was just so boring and so plain, and so she would get upset when we wanted to use the living room or when we would be loud past like literally like 8 p.m. and I'm like, girl, first of all, like, I understand having like a set of rules so everyone is comfortable in the apartment, but girl, like, you also have to understand that it's college, right? 8 p.m. is not late in college by any means. 8 p.m. is very early in college, okay? Anyways, we continuously tried to compromise with her over and over and over, and she was just never happy. As soon as we'd compromise on one thing, she would find something else to complain about. Like, it was like, when I tell you it was never ending, it was never ending. She just like hated us. And like I said, it's not even that we like didn't try to make things work with her. We were the ones, we were trying so hard. Every time she would complain about something or ask something of us, we would try, we would do it. And then she would just find something else to complain about. And we were like, okay, we're the ones making all the compromises here. Like, you are not, where's your side of the compromise, right? We lived with her for all of fall semester. So then we all leave for winter break. I think it was our first night having all 4 of us back in the apartment. And me, my 2 friends, one of their boyfriends was all over. We were all just like drinking, hanging around in the living room. And Martha had her boyfriend over, and they decided to join us. Like, they were hanging out with us, drinking. We were just playing board games, like having fun, and it was so nice. This was like one of the first times that we had ever really had like a good time with her, and so we were like blown away. We were like, oh, this is awesome. Like, things are gonna be better this semester, like maybe like she's finally warming up, you know, da-da-da-da-da. Like, we were excited because we thought things were finally going good between us. And then literally that week, I kid you not, like that week, we get an email from the apartment complex saying, hey, your roommate wants to switch apartments, and we have another girl in the complex who's also wanting to switch apartments. The only thing that they told us about this other girl was that she had a dog, because previously we had no pets in the apartment, so they had to ask our permission. But that was like literally the only thing that they told us. At that point, like I said, we had no idea that people who were way older lived in these apartments, could live in these apartments. Like, I know technically they could because of like age discrimination, but like we didn't know that was like a thing, because that was like, you know, kind of unheard of. Like, we had never, you know, like that's just not what you expect, right? And that's the whole point of like a student apartment, is for kind of the safety and the security of living with other people your age. Do you know what I mean? Like, and in terms of random roommates, having random roommates that are, like I said, around your age. Anyways, the only thing that they tell us about her is that she has a dog, so we're like, oh, okay, well, we get to get rid of Martha and we get a dog. Like, cool. We were like, yeah, sure, whatever. Again, not having any idea that what was about to happen was even possible, right? The moving day comes. We're waiting all day for our new roommate to show up. She finally comes like later in the day. In the door walks a younger guy, probably around our age, and then a much, much, much older woman. We were so confused because obviously our first initial thought was that the guy was our roommate, and we were like, yo, like, it was an apartment of all girls and we never said that we were okay with having a guy roommate. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had never agreed to that, so we were like confused. Come to realize that he's not our roommate, it's her. Who is this random full-grown ass woman moving into our apartment? It would be weird enough to have that big of an age difference with your roommate no matter what. Just the fact that it's a complete stranger, like, that's scary. Like, we have no idea anything about this woman, and it's really terrifying when all of a sudden you're just like forced to live with them and you don't have any other choice. The first thing she tells us is that she really likes to have her wine and cook and whatever, and we were like, okay, cool, like, whatever. And the other thing she asked us was like how our laundry schedule worked, like if we all had like specific days or whatever, and we were like, no, like, we don't have assigned days, like, everyone just usually does it like once a week, like, just don't do laundry all the time. You know, like, if she would have just been older and ended up being like a good roommate, like, I don't think it would have been as big of a deal. But no, she was also a terrible, terrible, terrible roommate. So the first thing, I think it was very, very, very shortly after she moved in, which, remember, she told us that she loved to have her wine and cook, right? This woman did not know how to cook a single thing, okay? Every time she would cook something, she would burn it black. And I'm talking like smoke alarms going off in our apartment filled with smoke. And that happened on a regular basis. Like, this woman did not know how to cook. So that happened, like, I think the next day after she moved in. And we were already like, oh my God, like, she just decided that it was okay to help herself to anything and everything in the apartment, anything in the fridge, no matter whose it was, everything in the laundry room, no matter whose it was. Like, she just started using any and everything. And we were like, yo, like, that's not how this works around here, okay? Like, don't use our stuff. I mean, no matter how many times we told her, she would still continue to do it. She ruined so many of my pans that year that I had to, like, completely throw away. She, no matter what, we would tell her so many times, like, if it's not yours, like, just don't touch it. And she would be like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. And then, like, she wouldn't do it for a little bit, and then she'd go right back to doing it, and it just, let me tell you, never got better. Probably about a week or so after she moved in is when she finally had the dog. She didn't have the dog when she very first moved in. And with this dog, let me tell you, we were told it was an emotional support animal, right? So tell me why, when this lady finally gets the dog, it's a whole ass pit bull. And okay, let me remind you, I love pit bulls. I don't have a problem with pit bulls. I don't have a problem with the breed. Like, that's not the problem here. The problem is I don't think pit bulls can be emotional support animals. Like, I don't think, like, within the, I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong on that. I'm just pretty sure that, like, pit bulls are not a breed that can be certified as emotional support animals. Maybe they can. But no matter what, she ended up admitting to us, like, literally admitting to us that he was, like, in training or whatever, or, like, that he wasn't an actual certified emotional support animal. We were on it, honestly. Every time she would give us a reason to contact the office, we would. We tried so many times. She literally admitted to us that she didn't have, like, the right paperwork, that he wasn't a certified emotional support animal. We literally, like, told that to the office, and they were like, well, no. Like, they would just blow us off every single time. I didn't mind the dog, but it's just like, if you're going to tell us that our roommate is moving in with an emotional support animal and then not even inform us that it's a pit bull, or also not an actual emotional support animal, like, but whatever. Just something we noticed over the time she was there was that she was a pathological liar. She would just continuously lie to us all the time, so we really had no idea, like, what was going on. Like, she said that she was just there temporarily and that she was having a house built, and then a couple weeks after that it was like, oh, what? No, I don't have a house built. I'm moving into this apartment, or oh, I'm staying here. My son, he's bringing me my car. Like, it was just all sorts of things, and they were just all lies. And so, again, add that into an already uncomfortable situation, that makes it that much worse. She also shaved her head maybe like a month and a half after moving in, and she had no teeth. She had dentures. So that was also really fun. Like, again, like, I'm not hating anything on this woman, but you have to understand how uncomfortable that was from our situation. So eventually we get to the point where we realize that the apartment complex isn't going to help us at all. That we're just stuck there, that they just really don't care about us, and that we're stuck. One of my friends moved out into a house with her boyfriend, and so it was just me and my other friend who were stuck in this apartment with her. And this was, you guessed it, 2020. This was right at the start of the pandemic. So we literally got trapped inside of our home in the most uncomfortable living situation ever. Like, at least before then, we could leave, you know, try to spend time other places. No. Because we went into lockdown. And like I said, one of the girls I was friends with moved out. The other one was an essential worker at 2 jobs. So she was always out of the house, which meant 90% of the time during lockdown, it was just me and her in the apartment. And I can't even describe to you how uncomfortable that was. Like, that was already like an unsure time. I live across the country from my parents, from my family. I'm stuck in an apartment with a woman who scares me, who I am so uncomfortable with. Like, it was terrible. Like, the pandemic was a really, 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 really rough time for me. But that just made it that much worse. Like, I spent most of lockdown on my own. I mean, obviously I could like FaceTime my family and stuff, but it was horrendous. As time went on, she didn't get any better, obviously. She kept stealing stuff from us, and in fact, it actually got worse. Like, she would like genuinely start like stealing things. Like, before she would just like use things, whatever. Then she started stealing things and putting them in her room. Like, she stole the TV remote to my TV that was in the living room and hid it in her room, and then came out really awkwardly and was like, oh, look what I found in my room. I must have picked it up by mistake. And we were like, dude, what the like, you're a grown-ass woman. Act like it, bro. Like, oh my God. It was just so bad. Oh, wait. I forgot. This was probably one of the worst things. Okay. She had this stupid pack of ground beef in like a tube or whatever that was in the freezer, and she would continually take it out, let it defrost during the day, not do anything with it, and put it back in the freezer. Which, first of all, like, you're not even supposed to do that. Like, once you thaw it, like, you gotta use it. You can't just like refreeze it. You can't do that. So anyways, because she kept doing that, it ended up leaking meat blood all over the freezer. All over the freezer. Like, that was absolutely disgusting. There was just literal meat blood all over the freezer. It was stuck. It was frozen in there. And we were like, no. So we told her right away. We were like, yo, like, you've got to clean it. And she was like, okay, yeah, I'll clean it. We literally had to fight with her for probably like a month before she finally ended up cleaning it. We kept asking her, and she was like, oh, I forgot, I'll get to that. Whole time there's literal meat blood just in our freezer. Like, that's disgusting. And she did laundry all the time. She ran up our like electric and water bill because she was doing laundry every single day. She would do laundry, like a whole load of laundry, to wash like one towel or like two towels, like small towels, not even big towels, small towels. It was just such a weird experience. When I think about it, like, it almost feels like a fever dream because it was just so weird. It was so weird. I mean, I was upset with the apartment complex then for like not doing anything about it. I mean, I understand that there's not that much they could do. They were the one who approved her to live there, who accepted it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Looking back on it now, I realize how traumatic that like experience was. Like, to one, not even feel safe in your like house, in your living environment, and then to be trapped in it with a literal stranger who is older than both of your parents in a student housing college apartment. It was so weird. And like I said, like, the biggest problem wasn't her age. The biggest problem was that she was a terrible roommate. And of course, that's exactly when the pandemic started. So that was And yeah, we stayed with her until the end of the lease, and I have never been so excited to see July 31st in my entire life. We've never seen her or heard from her ever again. But we also never exchanged information with her. Like, we never gave her our phone numbers. We never gave her anything, obviously. Anytime we would talk to her, it would just be, like, in person. We never texted her or anything like that. Oh, also, I don't know if I actually mentioned this. She was a literal grandma. Like, she actually had grandkids. She was a literal grandma. That is the story of how I ended up living with a random grandma. Thankfully, that never happened to me again. So, word of advice, if you're ever switching roommates or they're asking you to switch roommates, get information about who is moving in before, okay? If they just say, oh, there's a dog, don't just say yes, okay? Don't just say, you live and you learn. Because the thing is, I can't describe, like, her essence. Like, you just had to, like, see her and meet her and talk to her, and, like, this story would probably sound so much, but honestly, now that I'm not, like, in that living situation, it's been a couple years, it's a great story to tell. It's a great story to tell, but it was definitely the worst living experience I've ever had. It was the final look, and I hope you guys enjoyed the story. If you also have a roommate horror story, please share it in the comments. I would love to hear it, and see you guys next time.